Okay, y'all, that intro song is about low key. What is going on, you guys? What is going on, Media Kingdom? Today I'm coming to you guys with another reaction. So today we're going to be reacting to the Donna Adelson case, you guys. So there's a creator that goes by the name of I'm Not a Lawyer, but she explains what the case is about. So it's basically about a mother-in-law that literally put out a plot to kill. Ain't that crazy? And then she had her day in court the other day, and she basically tried to shame the justice system. She tried to shame the court. She tried to shame the judge. She tried to say the jurors believe lies and these are all lies. Basically, the final speech you make before they read the verdict. Yeah, that speech. She literally made a fool out of herself. The judge even had to stop her tracks. The judge had to stop her husband in his tracks doing his speech, which was supposed to really be about grievances. Y'all, it was no bueno. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but explains it here. She is on YouTube, so please make sure to check her out because she's extremely hilarious in how she delivers her explanation of the case. And then we're going to take a look at both speeches by Donna Adelson and her husband, and also the verdict afterwards. Okay.
Lawyer, but this 75-year-old grandmother is facing life in prison, and her own children could be the ones to seal her fate.
And of course, it's in Florida. When I tell y'all this state is demonic, I don't give a fuck what nobody says. There's like demons walking everywhere. It's sad.
Apparently, down in Florida, parents aren't the only ones testifying against their children. Children are also testifying against their parents. Child, this one's a doozy, so buckle up. So let's start at the beginning. This is Dan Markel, and in 2014, he was a recently divorced father, a husband, and a law school professor at Florida State University. In July of 2014, after dropping his two kids off at school and going to the gym, he pulls his car into his garage, and before he could get out, another car pulls behind him. A man jumps out, comes to his window, and executes him. That second car drove off, but not before Dan's neighbor saw the car and thought the whole thing was interesting.
Right. This is what I saw as I looked out.
Okay, and the driveway that we can see there on the right side of the window is that.
See, that's why you need you some good nosy neighbors, because them people that's gonna keep you safe and shit goes awry.
Markel's driveway?
Yes, it is. Well, initially we had heard this loud noise, which we weren't exactly sure it was. It could have been a gunshot. We weren't sure. And then when I saw the car back out, that prompted me then to walk next door. As I approached his garage, I noticed that the garage door was open. His car was inside, and the motor was running. And so I thought then, well, I guess so much for a burglary. I don't think that's happened if Danny's there. After that, I can't tell you why, but I just stood at my front window and looked out and waited for a few minutes. And for some reason, it just didn't quite seem right. Danny hadn't backed out. And I thought by this time he should have backed out of his driveway. Well, when I went back the second time, I noticed that the garage door was still up. The car was still running. And this time I thought, maybe I better walk on into the garage. He's probably in the driver's seat. He's probably on the cell phone talking.
Yes,
and so I walked into the actual driveway then, and I saw that the driver's side window had been shattered. As I looked inside, I saw a bloody head, and the head was slowly moving back and forth, rolling back and forth, left to right. And I hollered immediately, "Danny, what happened?" Still nothing. And at that point, I knew that I had to get the emergency medical team there as quickly as I could. So I quickly dashed back to the house, got the phone, and called 911.
So the police are called, and they are able to.
And this is why certain people are bolder than others, because let me hear a strange noise like that. I ain't gonna check. I'm gonna just call the police. No shade. I'm gonna stay afar, because who knows if the killer was lurking around. You feel me? You could have been next. You right by where the crime happened. Man, I would have stayed in my house, looked out the window, and called the police. And said, I hear a strange noise next door. Can y'all go just check on that real quick? I just seen a strange car back out. That's a bold old man right there, because a lot of people wouldn't have did all that now.
To quickly learn that Dan was recently divorced and in the middle of a custody battle with his ex-wife, Wendy Adelson. Police begin their investigation, and they retrace Dan's footsteps from that morning and are able to obtain some video surveillance from the gym parking lot that he went to that morning. And in looking at that footage, they see that after Dan pulled into the parking lot, a car matching the description of the one the neighbor saw had also pulled in behind him, and no one got out of that car.
Is this black vehicle Mr. Markel's vehicle?
Yes, it's a black Honda four-door.
What is this vehicle?
You know, it doesn't make sense to me when some people commit crimes like this. Do y'all not know cameras exist in 2025, 2026, even earlier than that? 2020, 2000, 2001, even earlier than that. Like, cameras do exist. So I just don't get how people be doing certain stuff and don't think they're gonna get away with it. And think they're gonna get away with it. Like, literally, cameras exist, especially when it comes to unaliving people. Like, y'all don't think y'all gonna get caught in 4K? It just don't make sense to me. Like, damn.
Will be the suspect vehicle, green Prius. This is still in the front section where the car went from right to left.
This is still part of the Premier Gym parking lot?
Correct. Yes, it's just the opposite, camera facing the opposite direction.
Yep.
From there, police get video surveillance from some city buses, and they see that Dan appeared to be followed home by that same car.
Now, where are we?
This is southbound on Thomasville. We've gone underneath the I-10 overpass, and we're at Metropolitan Boulevard, and the bus just so happens to pull up right behind the Prius.
All right. What are these orange circles indicating?
These are characteristics of this car. The circle in the middle of the top of the windshield, that appears to be a SunPass or toll type pass activator. And then the lower bumper circle, that's where a tow hook can be threaded in for towing purposes.
After studying the video surveillance, police see that this car following Dan has a Florida pass, and through that, police are able to track down that the car was actually a rental, and the rental car contract was signed by a man named Luis Rivera, as well as a second man named Sigfredo Garcia.
And what did we learn about the people that rented the car from?
According to this document, Luis Rivera, Normandy Drive,
And any other drivers listed on the contract?
in the top, you see the word brother and a phone number that became significant.
Who were you able to associate this phone number with, the brother?
Sigfredo Garcia.
So the next step for these officers was to try to figure out why these two Miami men would travel all the way to...
Child, I know. Oh my God. You mean to tell me you drove from Miami to a whole nother county to unalive somebody?
Tallahassee to take...
Ooh. Y'all, if y'all don't, for y'all that don't live in SoFlo, that's a long ass fucking drive. That's a long ass fucking drive. We're talking hours.
Dan Markel's life. And what they learned is that Sigfredo Garcia had some kids. And the mother of those kids was a woman named Catherine Magbanyu. And Catherine Magbanyu just so happened to be in a relationship with a man named Charlie Adelson. And Charlie Adelson is the brother of Wendy Adelson. Wendy Adelson being Dan Markel's ex-wife. Did you follow all that? And
Yeah.
Charlie and Wendy's mother is named Donna Adelson. Donna Adelson being the person who is currently on trial. And police's theory is that Donna is an overbearing, overprotective mother who was very involved in her daughter Wendy's divorce and custody battle. And once a judge ruled that Wendy Adelson couldn't leave Tallahassee to move to Miami and be closer to her family, on top of Dan Markel filing a motion to have all of Grandma Donna's visitations with the kids supervised, Donna Adelson had had enough. And so she enlisted the help of her son, Charlie Adelson, to take Dan's life. Charlie asked his girlfriend, Catherine. Catherine asked the father of her children, Sigfredo, and Sigfredo enlisted the help of his friend Luis to end Dan's life. So as a result of the investigation,
It's always a Miami nigga with a scheme. Pathetic. I'm not even shocked.
police first charged the two hitmen with the crime. But as you can imagine, with this many people involved in a crime, it's safe to assume that somebody is going to crack. And in this case, it was the last man on the totem pole, Luis Rivera. Luis accepted a plea deal to testify against all of his co-conspirators in exchange for a 19-year sentence. So the first trial was for Sigfredo Garcia,
AKA a rat, which is needed for justice. Okay. It's always a person on the lowest of the totem pole that's gonna always snitch, though. So they should have expected that.
and yes, Rivera testified, and Garcia was ultimately convicted and sentenced to life in prison. The next trial was for Catherine Magbanyu, and again, Rivera testified, but Catherine's first trial ended in a hung jury, so prosecutors retried her, and she was ultimately convicted and sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years.
Ooh.
The third trial was for Charlie Adelson, And again, Rivera testified. And in that one, Charlie was convicted and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. And shortly after Charlie's conviction, Donna and her husband purchased a one-way ticket to Vietnam, which does not have an extradition treaty with the US, but police catch her and arrest her, and she is ultimately charged for her involvement in this crime. And
Girl. First of all, she probably wouldn't have survived in Vietnam, because who the fuck lives in Vietnam? Girl, bye. At least the bitch tried to do her research. She tried to give somewhere that she wasn't going to be extradited, but they got your ass. That's crazy. I've never heard nobody. Usually they try to flee to like Mexico, Jamaica, Cuba, or something like that. But Vietnam goes crazy. Oh my God.
And that's how we arrived at this trial. So thus far, 4 people have been convicted. So Donna Adelson is technically the 5th person that prosecutors are holding responsible for the death of Dan Markel. And if you're wondering if Wendy, Dan's ex-wife, has ever been charged, the answer is no. She was actually given immunity, but we'll get to that.
Oh,
so on day 1
wow.
of Donna's trial, her defense attorney shed some light on what Donna's defense is.
The state has a theory, and for the past 9 to 11 years, they have told the whole world that Mrs. Adelson was the reason that this happened. They've told this story, and it's outrageous. It gets people's attention. It's made a lot of money for the media, interviews, specials. Some people in jury selection said they had watched these specials. They made a lot of money for the media, and it got big attention because this is outrageous, what happened. It is truly outrageous. But what's more outrageous is, without any evidence, only motive and theory, they put her at the top of this pyramid. She's the matriarch. She's the matriarch mastermind behind Danny being killed. And they don't have evidence of that. That's what's outrageous. It's outrageous that he got killed, but it's also outrageous that we're sitting here with a jury and you're going to hear a lot of theory, a lot of motive, and a lot of what they believe the evidence means. They don't get to decide that. The evidence is what the evidence is. And I ask you to patiently sit here and really pay attention to all of the evidence that you hear, every witness that they put on. Look for what they actually have as evidence that Mrs. Adelson planned. She planned Danny Markel's murder.
And one of the first witnesses for Donna's trial is, you guessed it, Rivera.
Who's this right here?
Garcia,
And this?
Katie,
Who's that?
my baby mama.
Your child's mother?
I'm not gonna play with y'all. This isn't funny, you guys, because this is a murder, you guys. So it's not funny. But really, nigga, really, my baby mama. Really? That nigga's singing like a canary.
Mother?
Yes, ma'am.
What's her name?
Jessica.
Okay, and that's you there?
Yes.
Was this picture taken before or after the murder?
I can't remember.
Was there a reason the murder had to be done on the day that it was done?
He was about to leave.
Who was about to leave?
Markel.
About to leave town?
Yeah.
How did you get that information?
I got it from Tudo,
Where did he get the information?
from Katie,
How did she know?
Wendy.
And when you say Wendy, did you know who Wendy was at the time that all this happened?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but you did know there was a lady that you were helping get some kids back in Tallahassee.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you the driver of the green Prius?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I pulled up right behind him, and Garcia jumped out and shot him. He was inside his parking garage, and his sitting down the driver's side on the phone.
How was it decided which one of you would be the shooter?
Because I wouldn't want to do it.
You didn't want to be the shooter?
No.
When did you get the money?
Child, smart man. They still could have got his ass if he wasn't gonna sing like a canary.
Saturday morning,
Was that the next day?
the next day.
All right. And do you know where Katie got the money from? Were you there when Katie got the money?
No.
How much did you get?
35.
Was there anything unusual about how your payment was packaged?
Yeah, it was weird. It was all staple. Never
Was it
seen that
cash
before.
money?
Cash.
Okay,
hundreds.
stapled how? All hundreds.
Hundreds of $1,000 staple.
Did you and Garcia buy anything with your cut of the money?
I just bought a motorcycle.
This yellow motorcycle, whose is that?
Child, what are these details even important? Who gives a fuck what he bought for? That's dirty money. And we ain't talking about the band, nigga. Like, what the fuck? some stuff when they talk about it in court, it holds no meaning or reasoning to even be discussed. Whatever he bought with the money, if it doesn't have to do with the crime itself, who gives a fuck? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like that's so like unimportant and dumb.
Garcia,
What about this motorcycle right here?
that's mine.
Is that what you bought or part of what you bought with your money?
Yes, ma'am.
There's a lot more to this case, like a whole sting operation. It's a lot. But now that you have that context, come back so I can tell you about day 2 of the trial when 2 of Donna's kids, Wendy Adelson and her estranged son, Rob Adelson, take the stand. Ooh, child.
Okay, so fast forward, you guys. The day of the sentencing, you guys, Donna was given a chance to speak, and also her husband was given a chance to speak. Excuse the quality of her when she's speaking. This was due to copyright purposes, but her getting actual sentence will be in high quality.
Dr. Adelson, please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear?
Allowing me to speak. I have been Donna Adelson's husband for over 50 years. My wife sacrificed everything so that she could pour her heart and soul into our children, our grandchildren, and our marriage. This summer was our 54th wedding anniversary, and I had to spend it without her, hand in mind. She has done nothing wrong, and yet is being punished for a crime that she did not commit. I thought we lived in a different kind of world, but I guess I was wrong. I have listened, watched, and sat in the courtroom for the entire trial, and I could not help but scream in my mind by the witnesses that were brought forward by the prosecution who told outright lies. I didn't know that you could lie in a courtroom, but apparently you can. Danny's parents contend that they have never seen their grandchild. But for years they say they've never seen her. But Wendy has shared with me pictures and videos and letters from their visits. They have suffered immensely at the loss of their son, but they also contend to tell lies to the court about our grandchildren. Donna has always been a loving and caring wife and is innocent of the charges. A biased judge and jury were influenced by years of one-sided news pieces and social media.
Dr. Ms. Fulford, this has nothing to do with character.
Mind you, he's saying this all in front of the judge. I'm gonna say that again, all in front of the judge. You can call the judge biased and the jury. Not the smartest thing you can do. It just don't make sense to me why he thought that was smart to say.
The defendant. Sentencing. Go ahead.
Oh,
So in this moment, she's combing through the speech and she's making sure this was the lawyer that you guys saw earlier, talking about everything. She's making sure that he doesn't say certain things that may offend the judge and jury or make him look even worse than he already does.
in the heinous acts that she was convicted of doing. You are sending an innocent woman to prison. You have taken my wife and you have taken my life as well. And for what? This is not justice. It is vengeance, and it is wrong.
You have an examination for Dr. Adelson.
No, Your Honor.
Any other witness statements that you wish to give?
My turn right here.
She's in remain at council table.
Thank you. I'm going to move the microphone.
Once again, please excuse the bad quality. This is due to copyright purposes.
Speak louder because this is not amplified.
Okay. Is this loud enough, Judge?
I can hear you.
Thank you for letting me speak. My son-in-law, Dan Markel, was a fine and decent man. He was well educated and passionate about his career. He was a good son-in-law, but more importantly, he was a caring and loving father. On July 18th, 2014, his car was followed, leaving his home. It should have been just like any other day, an ordinary day in the life of Ben and Lincoln's father, but it wasn't. He didn't know when he left his boys off at daycare that would be the last time he would see them, and the last time they would see him. He didn't know when he went to the gym afterwards.
First of all, she sounds so scripted. Like, I don't know. I just feel as if all the family knew because I've been following this case pretty closely. I just am showing you guys so that way you guys could have like a refresher to it. And I've been following it, and she's so full of crap. She really is. Like this lady, she showed no remorse throughout the whole trial. Like she did not even like care. Like you could see the non-sympathetic attitude that she had throughout the whole thing. So it's like, girl, bye.
That would be the last time he would exercise. And he didn't know when he drove home that his life would end within minutes. Danny wasn't just being followed, he was being hunted. He was brutally murdered in broad daylight, sitting in his car, in his garage, by vicious killers. I cannot imagine the terror he felt when he saw a gun pointed at him through the window of his car. I cannot conceive of his heroic efforts to stay alive during the hours after the attack. Danny died in the early morning hours of July 19th. His death is a loss to his children, his parents, his sister, all of us in his family, his friends, his colleagues in the legal community, and to his students at FSU Law School. Danny's boys each have a photo of themselves with their Abba, their dad, beside their beds. They grew up kissing the framed photo and saying, "Good night, Abba, I love you." The pictures and memories are all they have because cruel, cold-hearted people took him from all of us who loved him. My heart was broken when Danny died. My grandsons were going to grow up without the father who loved them. I wondered, how could we help these boys through this trauma? It was then that my husband and I knew that the best way to honor Danny's memory would be to share with these children an abundance of love. The love
This is like a real lesson as to like, this is why you really got to watch out with who you marry with, who you get with, who you're in relationship with, all of that. Because look what happens. The fact that he had to have scheduled visitation, like they had to have the visitation be monitored, shows that he was not happy with her. He saw something in her that other people may have not. So that in itself was already a red flag that this lady was not shit. So
Danny would have given them if he were alive. It is interesting how the state can't make up its mind about who is what they call the, quote, mastermind behind this murder. In both of Catherine McManus' trials, the state claimed she was the mastermind behind Danny's murder. In my son Charlie Adelson's trial, they claimed he was the mastermind. And now in my trial, they claimed that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind the murder. I had no idea that other people planned to cut Danny's life short. And the people who did this are exactly where they deserve to be. But I had no knowledge that this horrible, evil act was going to take place. If I had become aware of this plan before Danny was murdered, I would have stopped it. With not one iota of actual evidence, the state convinced a Tallahassee jury that I solicited and conspired with other people to have Danny killed. Where is the evidence prior to the murder? The evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the state needed to prove their case. Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 in the morning?
Before you continue, Mrs. Adelson, as it relates to this statement, is the defense trying to re-argue the trial?
No, Judge, just giving someone else an opportunity to do it.
Mrs. Adelson,
You fucking up her acting, Judge. I'm sorry. You're fucking it up, Judge. You're me. Because my whole thing is this. If the fact that the ex-wife or whatever, if she, let's say if it was her idea and all that putting up to it, please don't act like you didn't know about it and then you didn't put her up to wanting to do it too and provided some of the money. Because I highly doubt that woman had all that money for her to give to him herself, because that's $35,000. Imagine what the baby dad of the sister got, not of the sister, but of the wife got. You get what I'm saying? The baby dad of the wife of the friend of the snitch. Yeah, I gotta go back to the pyramid to get what I'm saying. But yeah, imagine what he got. Probably more than that 35.
you certainly can continue. However, the court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse that you are displaying. Please proceed if you desire to do so.
Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 a.m. that revealed that I had any involvement in this vile and horrific act? Where is the solicitation and conspiracy evidence? The state needed to show that there was evidence before the murder to convict me. The state couldn't show that because there wasn't any evidence. They were trying an innocent person. It makes you wonder if the jurors were sleeping when the state had Sergeant Corbett on the stand for hours. Their own star witness testified that my phone was never, I repeat, never at my son's house on the night of the murder. The state's theory that my husband and I dropped off money to my son was blown out of the water by their own witness. And yet, the state continued to push that story, that lie of the so-called money drop, to the jury through the remainder of the trial. And the jury bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Reasonable doubt. Many months ago, my attorneys filed a motion for a change of venue. An expert witness testified that Tallahassee had been barraged with over 9 years of negative social media, printed news, television news, and podcast publicity about my family. He explained to the court, both with evidence and demonstratives, that for me to receive a fair trial, it needed to be held in any of the researched and designated areas in the state of Florida other than Tallahassee. All I wanted was a level playing field, but the court wanted the trial here in the hotbed of Tallahassee. I sat through
Well,
3
yeah, because
days.
that's where the fuck the crime was committed. What, you wanted you to come down to Dade County to try this? No. So you could get away with it scotch-free? It doesn't work like that. Like, my whole thing is, I just hate when people get involved in stuff like this and then they try to like find a way to maneuver so they could get their way and get off scotch-free, while certain people literally will do nothing and get prosecuted unfairly. But you think you should be able to get your way so that way you'll be able to get off scotch-free? No, it doesn't work like that. Talking about she wanted it in another county and jurisdiction. No, 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 no. The crime happened in Tallahassee. The man got shot in Tallahassee. He didn't get shot in Miami-Dade. He didn't get shot in Broward County. He didn't get shot in Lakeland County. No. So
Jury selection. 180 potential jurors were asked if they had developed an opinion in my case. Those that answered yes also added, I believe she is guilty. Not one person, not one, said, I think she may be innocent. That should have been a clue to the court to grant our motion for a change of venue, but the court denied the motion. One of my jurors admitted during jury selection that she had background information concerning what one of the state's witnesses would be testifying about. Why was she allowed to be on my jury?
What number?
Another juror.
my jury is crazy.
Mrs. Fulford, Mr. Zellman. Again, this has nothing to do with elocution of any sort. This is a raising of grievances, which are properly given to the appellate court. What does any of this have to do with sentencing?
Just one moment, please.
Child, I know y'all can't see it due to the quality, but that judge is insulted, bitch. He is utterly appalled. Okay? Because you're trying me in my damn county. I'm just saying, it's just there's no way she didn't know about it and didn't have anything to do with it. I just refuse to believe that. Like the fact that the visitation, right? That's what you could tell. And plus, from what his family has stated, there was a lot of tension in regards to him and her. She was like an aggressive mother-in-law. She always had her way. That's why the wife and him weren't together. That's why they ended up not staying together, because of the mother-in-law. So it just all adds up and it makes sense. I understand a little bit of what she's saying when in regards to them not finding evidence before the crime, but that's probably because she did her due diligence and made sure that all that evidence was rid of. Because think about it, for her to be that smart to literally try to, her and her husband to fly to Vietnam to get away, that shows some sign of guilt. Because why are you trying to fly away to a whole another damn country if you didn't do anything? Oh, he is over it, bitch. On my mama.
Turn that phone off or step out.
Ooh, baby. Because the reason why the judge is so insulted, she's basically insulting him and how the whole case was handled. And him being the judge of it, he's not going to be happy with that, because you're basically saying he did a piss poor job and everything was handled piss poor under his watch. So it's like he's not going to be like, yay, you know what I'm saying? So she's making adjustments as we speak while he stands and stares angrily to her speech.
please.
What happened to Danny is unforgivable. But I am an innocent woman convicted of this terrible crime without evidence. Danny was a brilliant legal scholar. He would have been appalled at the total lack of justice that went on during my trial. He would have been embarrassed to have his name associated with any of it. There are two crimes here. The first was Danny being viciously murdered. The second one is taking my life, the life of an innocent woman. Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. That is not justice for Dan. I've always respected the law. I've never gotten a parking ticket, but I'm going to prison for a murder I did not commit. I do intend to file an appeal so that hopefully I have the opportunity to be given a fair trial outside of Tallahassee. 11 years ago, Danny was murdered and taken from all of us who loved him. For the past 9.5 years, the state has broadcast to the world, including Danny's parents and sister, that I hired hitmen to kill him. Never in a million years would I have wanted Danny to be harmed or killed, nor could I ever do something that would leave these two small boys to grow up without him. I love these boys more than life itself. This is a lifetime of loss for these children. They didn't deserve this. His family didn't deserve this. Danny didn't deserve this. And so, as I appear before you today, Your Honor, I promise you with my whole heart, I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way with Danny's murder. I was not.
Adelson, please rise. Level of planning and coordination to bring the murder of Professor Markel to fruition was significant in this case. These were not crimes of chance or opportunity, and these crimes also required you to conspire with your son and others. You certainly can choose to deny your involvement and maintain innocence. The court finds the evidence in this case is clear. You will be sentenced accordingly this afternoon. The jury has found you guilty on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation to commit first-degree murder, and the court previously adjudicated you guilty as to these same charges on September 4th of this year. On count one of the indictment for first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or release, pursuant to sections 782.04 and 775.082 sub 1 sub a for statutes. On count two of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to 30 years in the Department of Corrections that will run consecutive to count one. The court will also sentence you to 30 years in the Department of Corrections on count three. Counts 2 and 3 are to run concurrent with each other, but consecutive to count one. As to the fees and costs, clerk can please announce those at this time.
$2,100 is a fine pursuant to section 775.
And even her reaction, it's as if like she knew it was coming, because you were gonna be guilty regardless. And then two, it's like she doesn't have any remorse for it. Like she's more concerned of her being behind bars than the guy actually dying, and then them leaving two kids without a dad. That, like, it's like she cares about that more than anything.
$105 as the 5% surcharge required by section 938.2 for costs pursuant to section 938.2.
Okay, so I'm gonna end it there, you guys. What did you guys think about the Donna Adelson case? Once again, I have been following and paying attention to it due to it being in the same state that I am. It's gotten a lot of press in the state because of the severity of it. Plus, he was an FSU professor. He was an FSU law professor, so that in itself brought a lot of media attention to it as well, because a lot of people that end up living around that area end up going to FSU. Okay, let me know what y'all think down below. Do you guys think she should have been seen as guilty or not? Let me know what y'all think, and we out, y'all.